I'm here today with Brent Rasmussen, who is the Executive Vice President and CIO of Carrington Mortgage Holdings. And we're going to talk about digital transformation. Brent, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. So I'd like to start out with asking you just a little bit to talk about what you're doing at Carrington.
Sure.
And give us a sense of what your duties are.
Okay. As you mentioned, I'm the CIO for Carrington. Carrington has many business lines under the holding company level. We do offer a lot of different products and services along the continuum of the single-family residence. So that includes mortgage lending, real estate brokerage, the buying and selling of homes, servicing of mortgages, title and escrow, closing services, some capital markets services as well, and even so much as home repair, maintenance, and preservation. I'm responsible for all aspects of technology at the company, so the full gamut of everything from data to connectivity to networking to the desktop and software development and R&D and all those spots in between.
So tell us a little bit about what's driving your company into the digital space. You know, what's interesting from a digital standpoint for you?
Sure. Anyone that's actually gone through the process of getting a loan, finding a home, closing, and then home ownership understands how complex and intricate that can be. Mm-hmm. Also, how heavily regulated it is, how paper intensive it is. You've got a myriad of actors throughout that transaction in different organizations, mm-hmm. So it can be a daunting task. Carrington is able to provide all of those services, so our journey is to reduce the friction mm-hmm. of those transactions, create a lot of transparency for the consumer, and then assist when requested and wherever requested. So that means, transparent data wherever, whenever, on any device, at any time.
Wow.
In addition, the timeline of that process, as we're all aware, is traditionally months. Mm-hmm. to get that through, and by the time you're done, you feel like you want to sleep for another month. I think some of the things that's changed is we've got a consumer base now that is demanding that sort of digital rapid transaction. We've got a millennial generation that's coming along, as well as even people that are, in the following generations. Mm-hmm. are now accustomed to being able to pull out an iPhone and get what I want right now.
Yep.
We've also got a regulatory environment that's changing rapidly, not only, kind of in both directions. There's increased regulation, but there's also change happening very quickly, which is bringing around a realization that that kind of, old, ingrained must be, signed in triplicate on, carbon paper. Uh-huh. That people are understanding that can't happen anymore. And then most importantly, I think the access to technology has changed tremendously even in the last decade. Mm-hmm. So the ability for companies such as Carrington to gather those technologies to solve many problems and have access to not only those technologies, but vast amounts of data, as well as readily available in our industry through, vendors and as well as the company ourselves, create a ripe environment mm-hmm. to change this. So one of the things Carrington is doing is we've started a program called Carrington Connects. So the idea is literally, okay, let's connect the getting a loan, finding a home, closing and owning the asset, and then preserving the access. So we're building a web portal, okay, in which the consumer can come in and get ready, transparent data. The consumer can self-serve as much as one would like, but we also have a quarterback or a concierge standing by throughout the entire process.
Nice.
To help guide and answer questions and help along the way, because obviously people aren't an expert at all of these, so we supply that expertise. In addition, we try to do this, as I mentioned before, anytime, anywhere, on any device. And so the digital transformation is a cornerstone of making that vision happen.
Can you share with us any sort of challenges that might help people understand if they're going to try to do something like this that they have to deal with?
Sure. I think a couple of things that I've learned is beware of treating the symptom. Go directly at the problem. Be a relentless participant. And then I think that the other thing that's always key is make the customer and the business an intricate part of the solution.
If I might ask, how do you coordinate that sort of physical world experience, with the digital world?
Well, when we sat and thought about how do we attack this problem, kind of looked around and said, well, there's many instances that we can point to, Lyft, OpenTable, several instances where you had existing capital investment. We have a mortgage lending solution.
Okay.
If you put in an order at the top, a mortgage comes out at the bottom, more or less.
Yep,
right?
yep.
Well, the same thing happens with our real estate brokerage. So the idea is to create a new innovative software digital solution that brings that to a new market and makes it more available.
Nice. Yeah.
And so that's kind of the path that comes down. As far as best practices, I would say that one of the things you have to have an all-in cultural change.
Interesting.
If you're going to fundamentally shift the way you do business, and digital transformation is that, it has to come from culture. You've got to win hearts and minds. Do that first.
Okay.
Let technology follow, and then let the consumer transaction guide the technology.